北部高原にいたからね。それで状況。
What a horrific situation for when Frieren like puts her hands on her hips, like it's like fucking adorable. But we're like Town of the Dead. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board, plus some extra. But first things up, the board. Where, with the board changelog, we have added Foss, Norm, and Milliarde. Milliarde? Milliarde, sure. Connected Foss to the old party and the new with a green line. I connected Milliarde to Frieren in the long ago with a green line. And I connected Norm to the party line with a white line. I can't remember what I called the before time, the long, long ago. So that's what I was saying. You might notice here on the board, I have now, I think, regretted my choice to make it a Tower of Time. If you're familiar, if you're watching our other reactions here on the channel, we have Maduzu Shi, which is a Tonghua from China, obviously, which also features a kind of a timeline sort of thing. And I've done that sideways, which I believe is probably the more correct way to go. I've also realized while I was adding stuff onto here that past me did not align with how current me does things. So some of these characters are separated by 5 spaces. Some of these characters are separated by 2 spaces or 3 spaces. It's a real Mad Max out there on old school board creation. Anyway, as I said, we do come back with notes, just a few this time, but we also have a ton of extra stuff to go through, so no worries there. Back in Season 1, we covered mages running out of mana as a story point. It occurs to me that if mana is a requirement for keeping a spell going or casting a spell, then how does a magical barrier stay erected for hundreds of years without a source to power it? Now, back in the exams, we had Sire created the barrier over the testing area, right? I would assume then that would imply that Sire is still powering that barrier. Well, if that barrier is in front of the Bowshank, whatever you would call it, cellar, then that implies that Milliarde is still alive? Maybe? Milliarde, you never do anything. You just gaze off into space. Wasn't that the Season 1 opening that had Frieren just laying back in the water staring up at the sky all the time? I guess this must be a habit she picked up from Milliarde. They served Bowshaft at the coordination, Frieren said. They also said that Bowshaft was from the Empire, an empire so old, it seems, that a dwarf had to mine a shaft deep underground to find the ruins of it. We know that Frieren is at least 1,000 years old. I think we heard something about Sire and Flamme doing something magic-related with the Empire, and seeing as Flamme had a human lifespan, it would have stand to reason that Frieren would have been around at that time too. So, I guess Frieren was around for the coronation of an emperor. I guess it also makes Milliarde's joke a little less impressive with the scope of time. For her, she basically went to a liquor store, bought a regional specialty, and buried it, leaving an inscription to say it's the best, and just waited out the people who couldn't make it. Again, I just know that I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff from Season 1. If you're familiar with my Jujutsu Kaisen reaction, I also had shit notes for Season 1, so a lot of this is just off the cuff me trying to remember what came before, and also trying to avoid spoilers, so I can't just like look up what I've forgotten for fear that I may just encounter a spoiler for something I don't know yet. I suppose the meta message of this episode, or at least the first arc, is not to place things on a pedestal. Soon enough, you'll glorify things beyond their capability to live up to, and all you'll have is set yourself up for disappointment. I mean, that goes for things and experiences as much as it does for people. You could also see it as suffering is best experienced with those you love, a sort of things aren't so bad if spread across a number of people. I was trying to think of like a more artsy way of putting that, but I think that just stands on its own. Plus, they explicitly say it out loud. We see them eating rock-hard bread, but we also see them cooking a stew of some sort. I certainly would wait for the stew to finish and soften the bread by dipping it in the stew. Judging by the clunk it made hitting the wooden bowl, I'd crack my teeth biting into that. No thank you. I'll take the soggy bread over tooth pain. Or broken tooth, as it were. Hell, I remember one time I had a coworker make me brownies because I was on a specific diet because of the cancer-related shit. So she made brownies using ingredients that I could eat. I don't know what the fuck happened. I took a bite of the brownie and literally a molar just split in half. And it caused me pain for like 2 years. You imagine I'm the kind of guy who doesn't go to the dentist for anything. Yeah, wasn't great. Good brownie, though. I'm guessing the Norm Company would have been where the knights that would have been escorting the merchant last episode would have come from. Frieren suggests that they may not be as strong as they once were, but I think that was already suggested to us, again, by a previous episode. And fair enough, we hear that they've lost a third of their number fighting demons, which also suggests a resurgence, which is also something I've brought up before. The wanted posters under the clerk's desk show Eisen as well as Frieren. I imagine underneath some of the others would have been Heiter and Himmel, assuming that they are keeping up with who is still alive. If they aren't, well, then maybe not. I did try and look at some of those people. I think one was like Toothy and the other was like Bomber, but I don't know if that's a hint for something. I looked at them. If we see somebody that looks like them, I'll know. And my last note, if the plan was always for Frieren to divinate the best source of wealth in the mine, then why did they go through the whole song and dance with Stark and Fern twice? The show of being indebted for 300 years and then the actual debt in conversation with Norm, it almost feels like it was encouraging Stark and Fern to head off on their own. I mean, how would they have known? It occurred to me, though, later on, that it seemed like it was not a trick, but the element that it seemed like Frieren thought she might actually have to mine, and that's when she's doing her song and dance with them. And that's when he shows up later and says, oh, of course, if you could just do this one thing, the debt will be washed away. So her song and dance might have just been a I don't know what's going on sort of thing. But then Norm still does a song and dance with Stark and Fern. So I don't know. Anyway, as I said, those are my notes, but we do come back with comments. And what I've done here is that Airwave2K2 has posted comments across the last 4 episodes, and I appreciated that. So what I'm probably going to do, well, I'm definitely going to do here, is that I'm going to read them all out as one. And what I'll probably end up doing in the video, you will probably already know this by now, because you can just skip ahead like 10 seconds and see, is I'll just probably combine all of it into one scrolling text. So there's that. You hadn't have to read out the comment. I appreciate it, though. Justin is missed. If only could make time for an hour or so once a week. Again, they were a sous chef for 2 restaurants. So, I guess that's pretty busy. I don't know if they're still doing it, though. Obviously, it's been a while. Sad to hear about your recent losses. Hope you are good. I'm here. This episode's start is anime original and brings back the viewer into the Frieren verse analog to the first episode in Season 1. The animation is as stellar as it was back in the first round. As a manga reader myself, I look for reactions with speculations. It gives new perspectives, whether they are wrong or right. It makes part of the experience. As for maps, you got one in the first season. Rather, you got 3. One from the past that showed the territory of the Unified Empire of back in the day. I'll have to look that up again because I'd be interested to see that. I don't remember, obviously. A map of the Vol Basin region where Heiter tried to figure out where Flamme has her dwelling. And the other one was partly shown in episode 17 at the start where Sign points out that his friend made way to Tur and where he parts with Frieren when they go to Oberst in the opposite direction, so to speak. And fully right after the intro in episode 1 with Flamme talking about her discovery of Orole. I do not remember that episode 1 with Flamme one, though. To be fair, though, I also don't remember the Vol Basin one, but I know where you're talking about, so that's neither here nor there. And if Sign was going to Tur, then maybe we will run back into Sign. Because I don't specifically remember where he was going to look for Guerrilla Warrior, but that could be a hint. Ah, you found the map. Good. Yeah, it is speculation where places are from here on out, as there are no updates to the map as of 2026. And I'm guessing you're saying that as a manga reader, which I guess is slightly disappointing to me, as someone who's hoping a new map would show up in the show. But then again, they could anime original a map. I've just thought every time we've run into a city, it was going to be Tur, and so far, none of them have been. Frieren's memory is not directly addressed. If anything, as of this point, we can only go with her even having memorized useless details, like Himmel showing her poses for his statues he came up with. As she remembers, it happened back on the Hero Party journey in the Old Man Vol episode. So, speculative, she could have an eidetic memory, since back at the time she said she won't remember, but still did. Perhaps even her escapes detail, but when triggered it comes back, like it is dormant in a way, hence why she remembers the steaks flavor back in the day of Lecker making them, and can compare it to the present taste to say it changed, just it gotten better after all. This is very tangential, but one of my favorite science fiction series is the Mars trilogy, Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars. And part of that is humans basically, I'm not going to say not become immortal, but become so long-lived, like in the hundreds of years, to the point that a problem that they have is their memories start to go. They start forgetting who they are or what they're doing and things like that. So the idea that Frieren could just be encountering memory problems at some point would be an interesting story point. However, I think you'd also have to do that for all of the elves. So, I mean, that could be a thing. Elves don't die naturally, but they just forget who they are, and that leads to them dying. I mean, that would be interesting to me. You give us a time code here, which doesn't really work for the format that we're not doing, because I have no idea what we're talking about, but it seems like it crushed the stuff inside. It is an anime original scene. A bit nonsensical given how often we have seen Frieren having books around where they just stay, and that it would by no means fit in the suitcase. Okay, you're talking about crushing the suitcase. So this edition is sadly one that does not fit with what we have seen already. Having the demon cover her head with the cape is very suspicious. One would think in a world like Frieren it would be an unspoken rule that nobody covers their head to begin with, for exactly that reason. Demons sure are intriguing, like to know people would close their eyes when praying, but then have such slip-ups in a way. On a side note, the hero party backtracked the demon who stole the sword initially to the Shure Mountains, which is located back when we met Kraft the monk during winter. Such things sure have made the journey into a 10-year time travel. Lucky for Fern that it wasn't that bad this time around. Yeah, because that town's pretty far north. Well, then again, they didn't have to do exams, right, on the first go-round. Because they didn't have the equivalent of the rankings? Sorry, they didn't do it. And if memory serves, Frieren was surprised at having to be qualified and then didn't want to be, because they had a different thing back then, right? So yeah, they had their own time waster, as it were. Yes, the mini-anime series continues along the main anime and has new episodes as of now, which is the other extra thing that we have to get through here, because I realized not only did it continue for this, it continued after the show. It was either that or my source of where I was getting translations just didn't continue at a certain point and then did. So after we had finished watching the show, apparently there was a number of them last year. So got those to watch even before starting these. Good reactions so far in, seems a bit underwhelming in views for how engaged you are with it. Sorry for that compared to trash ones that just watch and have like no thoughts about it for the most part, but a pretty face that attracts attention. Look, I'm not getting into that realm. People enjoy what they want to enjoy. Like the element that I watched the full episode, whereas a lot of people do the engagement thing at 10 to like 12 minutes of the episode is all you really need to get views, and people are not interested in watching longer form content. I'll say that this isn't my typical fare either. I understand why people would want to watch me do this. One, listen to the voice. The audio quality is not great. I am not an entertaining personality. Not much to look at. Like, I can shit on myself all day. The element here, though, is that there are shows that I'm really good at, like ones that have mystery involved, long-term Apothecary Diaries, for example. I do the board shit. I'm pointing at a board that's not visible on screen right now. I do the board stuff there. I try to solve the mysteries, that kind of thing. I'm better suited for those kind of shows. Shows that are primarily emotionally driven, I have less to say about. And when I have less to say about a thing, I feel like I'm not doing you, the viewing audience, a service, because the only thing that really makes me any different to anybody else is that I spend time thinking about stuff, taking notes, forming a board, etc., right? That's the only extra additive value that I can put into this. But hey, I do it, so I appreciate that you enjoy it. Sorry, I paused there for a second because I saw you said HOTS, and I was like, HOTS. What was that? It was hot. Hero of the South. I got it now. Hero of the South. Yes, with Hero of the South and Schlott of the previous episode and their unique future sight, it is a dive into thinking about how does the world work. Is it all determinism or fate? Or how does the goddess is connected into it? I didn't mention it this time, but obviously the goddess is printed on the shoot, I can't remember the name of the coin. The new coin. She's on the front. She's also on the signs on the side of the road. She is all over the place. Something's got to come this season of the goddess. Especially since they indicated towards the religious symbol that Frieren carried around with her last season. Anyway, tangent based on your thing. Certainly much food for thought if you happen to linger on it and try to make up your mind. It is, however, not on your nose, so it is open to the audience to engage with or just go over it and enjoy without having much thought. That is what great about Frieren as a medium and shows once more the exquisite writing. I can see what you hint at with Dandadan. Well, Dandadan is a romance story with mystery plot elements that explores the main characters coming together while they explore extraterrestrials, spirits, and stuff. Well, Frieren is a world in itself, and it happens to have this slow-burning romance as a part of it, so for what the story is focused on, they are different and not comparable with that, sure. Dandadan does what it is doing very well, but when you take Dandadan, and compare it to main focused romance story, it then also is not as developed like Dangers in My Heart, where it is all about the main characters getting close to each other. I didn't watch Dangers in My Heart. I saw the trailers in a seasonal anime review, I believe. In any case, all three do what they wish to accomplish well. Just Frieren is so much more, and perhaps it takes it a grander story told. Just a technicality note on the death of the Demon Knight? You said DK. I'm gonna guess Demon Knight. Frieren remarked after the defeat of her clone in the ruined King's Tomb to Fern that she wasn't forced to use the height of magic till that moment 80 years ago, so it could be roughly assumed that a year was needed on the hero party journey just to travel back from way up in the north to be back in the central ends, where the journey ended in the feast we saw in episode 1. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. We're taking a lot of detours here, and we didn't get to see all the detours they made. Although they do say that Himmel detoured them all the time. And we've seen... God, I can't remember now. I do know that in the past couple of episodes, we've gone from the 29th year after Himmel died to the 30th year Himmel died, implying that we've spent at least a year. So if you're saying it took them a year, and we haven't even reached Tur, assuming that we're passing by Tur at some point, it's my marker on the map where I'm going to judge all this by. Then we're not. I don't know. I wouldn't make that assumption myself, I guess is what I'm saying. Know that the difference between braids of anger and those for good mood, if it could save your life someday. Well, it is the first time Stark actually thinks of Fern in a romantic way, hence his thought of her being cute, not that it came up before. The awkwardness was both where a pain to witness, but for how realistic it is a very good portrayal. Yeah, I mean, Stark is Stark. He is a young man who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Regarding the suitcase, in the manga chapter that was adapted here, it was shown that they put a cubed crate far larger than the width in it, hinting at some kind of magic trickery going on to stash much inside of it. Yeah, the TARDIS. Also, it's weird because I think you said before, since I'm reading all of your notes all together, that that was an anime-only thing. That, I don't know. Previous in your note, it will have scrolled by. You'll know what I'm talking about. But here apparently it is in the manga, so I don't know. Anyway, thank you for your comment. Hopefully, I will edit that together because I fucked up reading it plenty of times. Somehow, reading my own notes, I fuck up. Reading your comments, I fuck up. Hell, I probably fucked up reading the board changelog. Anyway, that is everything on the front end. As I said, we will also be adding on some of that magic of extras that I've missed out so that we can keep up with those as they come out and we watch new episodes. But until then, because I will be at the end of the episode, let's go ahead and jump on in and see what this episode brings us. I already know, obviously, I think I guessed at the end of last episode, we're going to see Methode, and I can't remember his name. Let me zoom in on the board here. Gnu. I was going to say false for some reason. Gnu and Methode, I believe, are going to show up this episode. I don't know why I derailed us there. I could have said that in the opening credits. Let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Alright, so demon attack, I'm going to assume from the past. Oh no, actually this could be the present, considering what I think is going to happen with Methode. Those are demon horns. Although ironically, that's like a monk staff. So this is going to be one of the missing demon, what do we call them, lords? That thing looks intelligent. I don't think we've seen that thing before. Or one of those things. Calling for help. Is that the Norm Company flag? I don't think so. The Norm Company flag is just red. If it was the Norm Company banner, I think that might have been two-color too. But it also would have had the scales on it. I mean, I guess the fact that this is all Northern Plateau, right, would mean that any outpost, any merchant outpost, could be Norm Company. Guess also those guys saying protect the village didn't quite look like the Norm Company Knights. But then again, the vision of the Norm Company Knights that we saw could have been from the past when they were fully out, geared up and whatnot. We've never seen whatever species that snake looking thing was. Sorry, I am a old school D&D player. I'm aware that there is a name for whatever you would call the snakes with legs. I mean, there's plenty of different varieties of names for that. I just, specifically something was like on the edge of my brain coming up for that, and I couldn't think of it. Also, there's apparently a towering demon creature, which again, for me, invokes that guy from Season 1 and I guess you were calling him a Demon Knight, Death Knight, DK. Unless I completely messed up what DK would stand for. Whatever they fought there, that looked like Qual. Although it could just be like basalt. That's Mathade. That has to be Mathade. Okay, those are not the banners from Norm Company. You never believe a demon. Yeah, that's definitely the guy I just said. It's funny because I'm also watching Nausea, which is, I guess, into epilogue episodes now. And one of the rules about Nausea is they'll always fucking lie. Now, why do you assume that this guy left the exam area? Because they're not doing exams this year? Not this year. It's off-season for exams, so he wanders the north helping out in off-season times. Oh, okay, never mind. There's the explanation. If it's sad seeing it, then you bore some attachment. There you go. Name confirmation as well. My guy, can you not do any first aid? Okay, this guy's dying. Again, in the opening, we know they were church. Yeah, there you go. Grip's loosening. I'm assuming he was lying to him because he's dying. There's no reason to tell him the truth. Let him die in peace. So I say, he had attachments, otherwise he wouldn't do this. Already dead. Pretty fucking harsh. See, from the opening shot, we couldn't tell that there was this many. I think I said there was like, what, 7 bodies on the ground? Did not guess it was going to be a whole fucking town. You got feelings, my dude. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking to yourself. Because he didn't want to fucking die. Again, if you weren't attached, you wouldn't remember all this shit. Ah, the knights too. At least they did their duty. That hooded woman's not in there.
死ぬのな
Oh,
ら
they do the whole broken
一級
tooth thing
魔
just
法
to make
使
them
いという
cuter.
戦いの道を選んだ私たちであるべきだ。
ゲナウさん、駐留していたノルム騎士団の要請が北部支部に届いた頃には村はもう滅んでいました。ゲナウさんに責
So
任
the
は
dude
あ
just
りませ
laid
ん。
there, dying,
村を
hiding
もう一回り
for,
見てくる。
I mean, for him forever.
少しは休んだ方がいいのではないのですか？
By the way, goddess statue.
なぜって。
Every episode there's going to be a goddess thing.
静かに。私の目が一つ潰された。
Wasn't that, what's his name? Warble?
潜伏した魔法使いが一人。
Isn't that Warble's ability?
二人か。
二人です。
かなりの手だれだな。敵だと思うか。
いえ、多分これは
It's Frieren and Fern.
なんだ、フリーレンか。
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't recognize the outline of
と
Frieren
い
and
うこと
Fern?
はもう一人の反応はフェルン一級魔法使いだな。
And the warrior would be Stark, obviously.
メトーデと一級試験の時の試験官か。確かゲナウだっけ。まったく。
Well, that's one point for your theory about eidetic memory, because I don't know how else you'd remember who the hell this guy was.
そうか。紛らわしいことをしたな。悪かった。
本当です。気が気ではありませんでした。フェルン大丈夫。味方だよ。シュタルクに伝えて。はい。そうですか。フェルンさんも討伐要請を受けていたんですね。北部高原にいたからね。それで状況は。
What a horrific situation for... When Frieren, like, puts her hands on her hips, like... It's, like, fucking adorable. But we're, like... Hound of the dead.
祈っているのか。
悪いか。
いや、そうは思わん。
俺の村も魔族に滅ぼされた。
そうか。
なあ、魔族って人間を食べるんだよな。なんで死体が残っているんだ？俺の村もそうだった。
さあな、理由は知らん。
Because it might not be the demons that we know.
腹いっぱいでも人を殺すんだよ。
I'm still remembering back when Frieren said that there was another race up here that was also magical. Just as dangerous as demons.
一足遅かったみたいだね。これでも急いだつもりだったんだけど。ただゲナウさんが一つ腑に落ちない点があると。
村に駐留していたノルム騎士団だ。
ノルム騎士
Yeah,
団。
where's the woman who threw the bird?
にもいたでしょ。紹介が保有する軍事勢力だよ。随分少人数なんですね。
Okay, so it was Norm Company in a way.
部隊なんてこんなものだ。それでも彼らはこの村にはもったいないほどの精鋭だったよ。隊長はこの男だった。
Oh, is that her on the
長年
right?
村を守り続けてきた英傑だ。
驚いた。この人シュタルクよりはるかに強いんだ。
That does not bode well for
そ
us.
りゃ俺と比べたらそうでしょ。
死因は剣士魔法の結果、彼らの死因は剣による
Autopsy spell.
全員即死です。
村にいた魔族たちは彼らの足元にも及ばない雑魚ばかりだった。おそらく村を襲った魔族はまだ生きている。よかったな。お前たちがここに
So it's either going to be the tall basilisk looking guy.
そう。
Sorry, basalt. The basalt looking guy or the snake thing. Those are one and the same.
一緒にそいつに人類の恐ろしさを教えてあげよう。
You can't do that, Frieren. You're an elf.
こうでこうですかね。
それだとかなり動きに無理があるな。
でも騎士たちの傷の状態だと。
もしかしたら
I don't specifically remember
二刀流
how
なのか。
Methode passed the test because I don't specifically remember Methode having any special
だとしたら
skills. The test, I
魔
mean
族は基
exams.
本的に短時間の潜伏でしか魔力を隠さないから、今は魔力探知の範
I
囲
do
内
have
の
her
状態
specifically
に
noted
置い
on
て
the
いても
board as having passed,
この
so.
村の近くは安全ということですね。ゲナウに周辺にある魔族の拠点になりそうな場所を教えてもらったから、そこを中心に調べていこう。はい。まあその前に夕食かな。腹が減っては戦はできぬだ。
Fern's not too subtle way of hinting about stuff. We're still eating
ま
bread
たこのパン
bricks?
か。
流通網が回復するまでの辛抱だね。
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
ゲナウはまだ教会だと思います。ゲナウさんの分のパンは私が。いや、メトーデは敵の分析結果を教えて。先に敵の構成を知りたい。
じゃあ俺が渡してくるよ。
お願いします。それで分析の結果は？正確な敵の構成を把握するにはもう少しかかりそうですが。
So I'm suddenly getting a hint of suspicion.
そっか。じゃあ先に作戦会議。
When I say suspicion,
の前にやっぱり夕食にしようか。
maybe never mind. So I was gonna say suspicious that Methode and Gnu might not be who they say they
も
are,
う出発か。
but never mind.
いや、
That seems like I'm
夕食だった
definitely
さ。
wrong.
硬いな。
何をやっていたんだ？
魔族の襲撃で教会の結界が壊されていたからな。より強力なものに張り替えておいた。中にあいつらの死体もあるしな。
なあ、なんで死体をそのままにしてるんだ？
Odd, because then you would assume that you would have found a lot more of the dead villagers in the
力仕事は
church,
得意なんだ。
hiding where a barrier
そうか。
existed.
北部高原出身じゃないやつにはわからないか。基本的に北部高原の村落に墓地はない。あるとしても堅牢な城塞都市の片隅か。結界に守られた
Because of
置
the
き族
fact
さんの
that
墓だ。
demons eat dead people.
あとはすべて魔物の少ない北部高原南端の共同墓地に埋葬される。わざわざ死体を運び出すんだ。ノルム騎士団の護衛をつけてな。なぜだかわかるか？
いや、
下手に墓を作ると不臭につられて魔物が集ま
I
って
mean, equally valid.
地獄のような光景だよ。そこには骨も残らない。ノルム商会の連中は随分前から死体を燃やすようにと主張している。実に商人らしい合理的な考え方だ。私も賛成だよ。
I'm guessing the religion has
でも
something to say
聖
against
職者
that.
連中が
Yeah,
黙っ
there we
ていな
go.
い。奴らの気持ちもわかるよ。痛いほどわかる。苦しんで死んだ人間を火にくべるなんざ正気の沙汰じゃない。
Is it somehow going to be reflected at the
い
end?
つかはそうするべきだ。
By the end, I mean the place, not like the end of the
誰も
show.
故郷の地で眠れない。
That if you get your body burnt, you can't come back. Like I said, I'd break my fucking teeth on that bread.
なんだかこうして一緒に食事をしていると不思議な気分です。正直フリーレンさんたちと こんなところで再会するとは思っていませんでしたから。こっちもね。山一つ向こうで野営してたら討伐要請の書面が届いたからね。何事かと思ったよ。
Right, and the fact that Siri would send the request to two different parties?
手紙を持っていますね。メトーデとゲナーこそなんでこんなところにいるの？
See, again, it's suspicious. There's a level of suspicion here.
2人もいたとは思えないんだけど。今、私はゼーリエ様の命令でゲナウさんと2人組で北部高原の魔族の討伐任務をしていますから。一級魔法使いって
See, at this point, I just wouldn't be surprised to see Warble and party show up as well.
というよりも
If this was going to be everyone who got certified.
ええ、一級魔法使いは基本的にゼーリエ様の弟子になることになるので。そういえばそんなこと言ってたっけ。私は断りま
We're
した
not
よ。
even gonna get certified. Everyone that's up
いい
here.
子だね。それで二人ともゼーリエのわがままを聞いているわけだ。大変だね。そうでもないですよ。むしろもっとお役に立ちたいというか、あの人ちっちゃくて可愛いじゃないですか。そうかな。もちろんフリーレンさんも負けないくらい可愛らしいですよ。ありがとう。それに
I mean, she's already looked at you that way, Fern. You don't need to.
もいませんしね。
お前は私のようにはなるな。
さて、お腹も満たされたし、作戦会議と行こうか。
それで敵の分析の方はどうなっている？
Is he standing outside because he can't go in because the barrier is still there? Now that wouldn't work. He's already been inside.
一つだけ分かったことがあるぜ。
敵は二刀流って言ってたっけ？それが、最初はそのように仮定していたのですが、やはり釈然としない点がありまして。どういうこと？私の知る限り、二刀流はどれも基本的に攻守のバランスを保つことに重きが置かれています。なので一本は致命傷を与える長剣、もう一本は取り回しの良い短剣にするのが主流です。
Yeah, in general.
つまり、切り跡には自然と
In general, your offhand is going to be a shorter sword.
大きな剣を2本操る怪力の持ち主ってことでしょうか。ええ、そう思って遺体の傷や戦闘の痕跡からイメージして同じ切り方を試みたのですが、やはり二刀流ではどうしても動きに無理が生じてしまいます。これ以上はまだ憶測の域を出ないのですが。いいから教えて。
おっと、悪い。
すみません。敵は四刀流です。
So the idea is that 2 would be unrealistic, but if we double that, that'd be fine.
そう考える方が自然だって。
Ophidian. That's the word I was trying to think of. Ophidian. O-P-H-I-D-A-N. Ophidian. I can't tell if that's the same as the snake guy we saw at the beginning. I guess that's just a confusion of appearance, right? I can't tell if there was two snake guys, the guy that we're seeing there with the eyes and the horns, and the other snake dude, or if it's just one of the same. Because again, it could just be that I was looking at it weirdly, or the one guy changed into the other guy. Yeah, I mean, slightly disappointing that nobody survived. I was real fucking emotional. I know, obviously, the channel's called Stone-Faced Reactions, So the element that if I say something is emotional and there's no real give there, just take that as the fucking channel, man. I know that if I was watching this and I wasn't like trying to react to it, plenty of times I'm like taking my notes and I'm watching one of these shows, I get like teary-eyed and everything like that. I just don't react that way when I'm on camera most of the time. Obviously, there are exceptions, Made in Abyss and whatnot, but touching, at the very least, it was touching. But obviously, you could see that he was saying this stuff, obvious lies, because he was dying.
この村を捨てて逃げられない。
私のことを知っているようだ。
そのうち一体は魔族の将軍。
真偽のレボルテ。
Divine Revolt. I don't know what that implies. Demon General. They just used it right there. That was what I was trying to remember, I guess. The Demon King's leader group. Some of them are missing. And obviously, knowing that Aura the Guillotine came back at one point, where are the others? Are they going to come back too? I'm still under the question if Qual was one, because again, they shared a similar naming scheme, but not exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, this is a good setup for whatever's coming. It reminds me of the season 1 episode where whatever this guy's called, my namesake here, where we get introduced to them, like, well, we're going to negotiate a peaceful truce with the humans, blah, 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 blah. And then 1 episode later, they're all fucking dead. So whatever's happening here, it's going to be a 2-episode arc, because obviously, as per my notes about the opening, which now I suddenly can't remember, could open my notes, not going to. The next thing after that is going to be people crossing a bridge, or the guy standing in the north. And by the north, I mean frozen wastes. I don't think it's going to be either of those things. I think this is going to be a 2-parter scenario. Hey, I called it. It was Methode and Ganasu, or whatever the fuck his name is. Sorry, I'm just not attached to him to know what his name was, whereas I remember Methode because the main people of the exam arc just stick in my head for some reason. Even though, as I said, do not remember her having any standout ability. Unlike, say, Warble, who I remember was able to freeze people in place. Specifically, I remember that from the fight with Ubel. Either way, though, I do not have much else to think about here. Because, again, for me, the standout is the conversation with the guy as he's dying, the sentimentality of, I don't really care, I'm not really bound to this place, and then, segue to all of his memories and everything he has to say about stuff that won't happen anymore. As I said, that is the main emotional tug of Frieren, the element of stuff we've left behind, right? Frieren is constantly be reminded of the journey that she took and the people that she met along the way, and then seeing what's come of them or what hasn't come of them. And other side characters are just constantly experiencing this thing is gone. Like Sign and Guerrilla Warrior. Guerrilla Warrior's gone, and then Sign's on his own journey to go find him. Ganasu is, I can never have that bread again. It's a very depressive train of thought to get into. I recently, as just discussed, or not discussed, it was mentioned in a previous episode and then was brought up again in the comment response we just did here. The idea that I have lost a couple of family members recently, pretty back to back. And I had the thought process the other day of remembering as a kid in like elementary school, I think it was, like late elementary school, doing a family tree where all I could remember was like immediate family on my dad's side, my mother's side, mostly my mother's side. And thinking back that everybody that I wrote down as a family member as a kid, like almost everybody, say down to like 4 people maybe, are dead now. Everybody that I wrote down as family as a child, anyone that I could think of as family as a child, is now dead. And what do I have left, right? Things I can't experience anymore. And really, that's what I feel like when I consider His name starts with a G, and I forget it every time. I've mentioned it so many times, especially when I'm talking about the opening and when is that thing going to happen. Just the element of, it's not nostalgia, but it's in that realm of nostalgia, because nostalgia is always a place you can never return to, but always want to be, right? That's the idea. And the element here is that we've got a guy who wants to push away his connection to the past, but still remembers it, is kind to it, and kind of laments the element that he can't return back to it. That's bread that I'm never going to be able to taste again, right? So yeah, I'm in that same boat when I express that the loss of family members, right? The element that my family, in that respect, is never, I mean, based on what it is, it's a conceivable world my family could get bigger again. It's not gonna, based on what I know, and the separation between family that I just don't know anymore, and the element of anyone that I once listed as family being gone, the element that the family's never gonna get bigger again. My family has turned into a funnel, and that funnel is just on a slow decline of... Anyway. So yeah, I mean, again, the channel's called Stone-Faced Reactions for a reason. Sorry, I'm always familiar with the element, or not familiar, I'm always acknowledging the element to myself. The channel is called Stone-Faced Reactions. But when I say it even slightly faster than I normally talk, I hear myself say stoned-faced reactions, and that's not what we're about here. So, anyway, I am rambling, and the only solution to rambling is moving on. As I said, we have a number of the magical shorts things that come out with the episodes. And as I said, from back in the day, I just kind of missed a bunch. Like me and Justin were watching, and no new ones were being released. At least the wiki didn't alert about any, and apparently a bunch did. So I have to catch up with not only last year's stuff, I also now have to catch up with the last, 5 episodes worth, or however many. So, attaching that to the end of this, so let's go ahead and hop on in and see some Frieren Mini-Anime short things.
早々のフリーレン〇〇の魔法
身長が伸びる
A
魔法
magic to make you taller.
さすがフリーレン。僕たちじゃどうしようもなかった魔物を一撃で仕留めるなんて。
ほんとさすがですね。よし。
Back to the head pats that she does not like.
すみません。身長的にも撫でやすいもので。
Oh, there we go. Source of.
そういえばこないだ報酬で身長を伸ばす魔法をもらったっけ
That grin. That shit-eating grin she always has.
どう身長も私の方が高い。それに年齢も上。完全に私の方がお姉さんだ。もう頭は撫でられないね。
高いけど、なんか
I mean, not that much taller than Hyder.
なんだよ良さって。失礼だな。
フリーレン、俺にもやってみてくれ。
アイゼンも？うん、いいけど。
良さがなくなったね。失礼だぞ。
It's funny because I also made Himmel the shortest. I'm surprised they didn't pull a joke or anything about Himmel, like, I'm into that, or something, you know? I guess Himmel's not that kind of guy. That would have been more of a sign thing. Sign's not here. But technically... See, I don't know if this is supposed to be, like, airing with Season 1, and I just missed it, or if this was, like, post-Season 1, I don't know, DVD extra stuff, which case I wouldn't have known because we were watching Frieren along with how it came out, right? So... anything that was extra to like DVD or Blu-ray box set, I would have completely missed. Sorry. I'm just appreciating now also that little shot there on the right-hand side of Hyter and Aizen just looking out into the sky, and of course Frieren as well. But where's Himmel looking? There's only one thing Himmel's looking at. Alright, well, let's, since this is on kind of like a playlist sort of thing, let's check out the next one as I set it up. Hopefully future me remembers to edit the audio on these because they're
お腹いっぱいになる魔
magic to leave you with a full stomach, which would be great if you didn't want to eat hard bread.
あー腹減った。
シュタルク様、もうすぐ町に着くはずですから我慢してください。おすすめしないけど、お腹いっぱいになる魔法あるよ。
Because it only makes you feel full, it doesn't give you any benefit.
フリーレン様、
That's usually the classic D&D trade-off.
まあいいか。
おーすげえ、お腹いっぱいだ。
空腹感はないんですか？
全然ないよ。ありがとうフリーレン。
Oh, because it probably lasts too long? Is that going to be the thing?
二人ともずるい。俺も食べたい。
ずるいって言われてもお腹いっぱいなんですよね。
Yeah, there we go. It lasts too long.
お腹いっぱいになっただけなんだもん。
ね、だからあんまり使わない方が。
我慢できない。お腹いっぱいだけど俺も食べる。フリーレン、お腹減らす魔法をかけて。
I mean, that's just a diuretic. It's cute. I mean, I appreciate it. I give it the joke is there. Okay, these must have been near the end, because I remember having this whole conversation with Justin about the broken, shattered glass thing, like who the person in the back there was. Hey, Denkin. Plus, the one previous to this was them, their feet in the water, which must mean, the fuck. It must mean that it was somewhere around season 2. Because I don't remember them using that as imagery around season 1. Because that would imply that they already made a bunch of this in season 1. So, I don't know what that means. Anyway, to the next one. A magic to slash almost anything. Hey, Ubel. And land.
どうだろう。例えばどんな時だと思う？
Although not land, it wouldn't be real land. Land would be nowhere near any of this. Which is, again, pretty cool concept about land.
暇だし、ちょっとやってみようか。ねえ、ちょっと厨房貸してくれない？
なんだよ急に。ってまあもう他にお客もいないし。じゃあ俺の昼飯を作ってくれよ。ここにある材料を使っていいからよ。
作れるかはわかんないけどね。
Also, no hint that she can cook. Being able to cut and being able to cook, two different things. See what I just say? Same thing they gave you with when Bochi tried to cook in Ranking of Kings.
姉ちゃん、やっぱり俺自分で作っていいか？
なんで？食べてよ。メガネくん、分身禁止ね。
Again, he would be a clone. That would not in any way be the real land. Okay, I just caught that. It said season 2 premieres. Right? So that was just the promotional image for season 2, in much the same way that this broken glass thing is the image for the second half of season 1. So that makes sense. I understand that now. I don't really know what the point of that short was because it was a magic spell to cut anything. That was just her normal attack stuff, wasn't it? Like, he gave it a name. I don't remember that name ever coming up before, but again, that would have been season 1, and I wouldn't remember. But just the element of, magic spell to cut anything. Pulls out sword, calls it magic. Like, I mean, it would be the same thing for me. Anyway, we still have more to go, so next one. Magic to move exceptionally quickly. Okay, we're just gonna go over everybody from the other teams. Best team, by the way. I want to see them again. I want to see them definitely in season 2.
お腹すいた。
うちは料理屋じゃない。何もないぞ。
確かに明日の朝食べる用のパンしかないね。
おい、お前さてはうちの台所に行ってきただろ。カングルなりした。いや、そこはカングルところ。
I mean, to be fair, she just said Flash vanished.
ラオフェン、ドーナツ屋に行ってきただろ。デンケン、完全にお小遣いをあげるおじいちゃんじゃねえか。それとラオフェン、ドーナツ好きだ。
Best team. I said it. Best team.
いらねえよ。
Look. Look, even if that's all we got, it was worth it for Denkin. I'm always willing to see more Denkin, and the fact that he is kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of got like this familial tone to them. You know, like when he goes to like the shops and everything, and he like checks in on Richter, and Richter's like, "What are you to me?" And yet they still hang out regardless. I like it. I think the best part of the exam arc was learning that the teams are kind of like together regardless of the fact that they had like no connection beforehand. Now, anyway, next one. Magic to envelop the body in a cool breeze. Air conditioning magic. I'd be down for that.
この地域の夏は特別暑いんですね。そういえばヒンメルたちと旅した時もこの辺は暑かったっけ。
Except for the element that this had to be somewhere in the north. Even if it was at the end of season 1, it would still be nearest the north.
そうだ、体の周りを涼しくする魔法があった。
本当か？
体の周りを
Stark, this has backfired on you already once.
確かごく小さな範囲だよ。あんまり使ったことないからよく覚えてないんだよね。
とにかくかけてくれよ。この暑さをしのげるなら何でもいいや。
わかった。フリーレン様、すごく涼しいです。
I just don't know what the backfire on this is going to be.
快適だ。天国だぜ。
Are they going to start freezing soon? Yeah, there we go.
フリーレン様、ちょっと寒くなってきました。
確かに。
I'll say you risk ammonia now that you've gone from hot to cold real quick.
できないんだよね。思い出した。調節できないんだよ。だからあんまり使ってない。
Better find a hot spring.
フリーレン様、凍えそうです。魔法を解除してください。そうだね。どうやるんだっけ？
Hot spell?
いや、
Hot spring?
久しぶりだからさ。
Those crystals that get rid of magic?
あいつらなんであんな厚着に？
どういう体温調節してるのかしら。
I mean, it would certainly be a trade-off. Getting yourself as hot as possible, or, I mean, yeah. Where's that? We went back to that one. Get yourself as hot as possible while using the cold thing. But again, you would just make yourself sick. Again, I imagine that's how you would get a magical ammonia. Funny, though. Also, I guess she's technically got a counter for the, heat metal spell. Right? You cast the cool spell on yourself if somebody casts the heat metal spell on your sword. That way your sword hand is frozen, and holding on to the hot metal is the only thing that's going to keep you, from getting frostbite. I'm just thinking. Because it seems to me that this would not be a D&D world, this would be a Pathfinder world, given how many eccentric spells that we get. Anyway, next one. A magic to seal one's quintessential ability, whatever that means. Oh. Yeah, if you're known for a thing, you can no longer do it.
得意技というのは一番得意な技だけということか？
So if you cast that on Heiter, Heiter wouldn't be an alcoholic, for example?
僕やアイゼンにかけたらどうなるのかな。剣や斧を使う技全部なのか、それともその中で一番得意な技だけなのか。
じゃあヒンメルにかけてちょっとアイゼンと手合わせしてみましょうよ。いいぞ。
望むところだ。
I have no idea what it would do to them.
始め。
Oh, bravery?
ヒンメルが戸惑ってる。
Okay, no, I thought it took away his bravery or something.
得意技が封じられているんですね。
なんてことだ。できない。イケメンポーズが。かっこいいイケメンの構えができない。
This is confidence.
そこ。
Oh, well, slightly disappointed there. I thought we were going to get something from Aizen, too. I do like that they go back and forth between the different promo images for each season. I think I prefer the glass shattering one for season 1 more. This is definitely a close second, though, because I do like Himmel unnoticed by Frieren, but still enraptured by her. It's really good. And then obviously the first one is good, too, but it's like the third best one, because that one's just like signifying it's Frieren. And it's good for when we didn't know what Frieren was, but then knowing what Frieren is and what it's about. Again, this one's really good, but for me, the exam arc was just so great that then having the imagery of the characters from the exam arc is just really good too. Anyway, next one. A magic to restrain what's within your sight. I told you, Warble. It was Warble's ability, wasn't it? See, I love Denkin as a character. I love Warble's appearance, also as a character. Not as much as Denkin, though.
本当だ。体も動かないし、魔力も操作できないや。確か視界に全身が入れば何にでもでしたよね。
As per the Warble versus Ubel fight.
じゃあ、あの鳥も捕まえてみてくれよ。
That bird would be dead. It falls from the air and dies. Is this the thing you're gonna drain him of mana? Or bloodshot his eyes?
そうだね。一家にじゃなくて1パーティーに1人。
なあ、俺たちのパーティーに入らないか？遠慮しとくぜ。
So I transitioned to this one because I let it autoplay. Magic to restore a childlike innocence? Use that one on Sign. I don't cast it on Himmel, you're really gonna screw up one of his statues.
ポーズ作り始めてもう2時間経つぞ。今回の職人さんがどれだけ耐えられるか。
そういえば、ハイターってヒンメルと幼馴染なんだよね。子供の時もこんな感じだったの？
そうですね。本当に小さな時はこうじゃなかったような。いつかはわからんが、どこかを境にスイッチが入ったわけか。
あのさ、同心に帰る魔法があるんだけど、かけてみる。
So that is a very weird spell.
こんなことしてない子供の頃の気持ちになればすぐ終わるかも。
That's even weirder when you put it that way.
なら同心と言っても赤ん坊くらいまでやると確実じゃないか。
わかった。
How childlike are we talking here? No, clearly he was this way the entire time.
ごめんなさい。記憶違いでした。生まれる前からスイッチが入ってたんだろうな。
It's cute though, it's funny. Yeah, and at this point we're only showing the season 2 imagery, which is what caught me off guard and let the autoplay go because I was waiting for the second one. But now we're definitely in the realm of the shorts for this one. And ironically, now that I'm mentioning this, there's only one left. So let's go and hop on in to the last one. Magic to swap bodies. That would be an entire fucking episode on its own if that showed up. Although, season 1, some of these did show up in the episodes. What, like 3 of them?
面白そうじゃん。例えば外見は俺でも中身は師匠ってことだろ。ちょっとやってみたいけどな。
Yeah, but that would mean you would be in Frieren's body. Oh, sorry, you said master. I forgot you meant Eisen.
何それひどくね。
フェルン、魔法は探求心だ。やっぱり使わないと。私とフェルンで入れ替えるよ。
I was going to say, because of these two, it would only be Fern and Frieren.
なあフェルン。
何ですか？
おお。
すごいでしょ。
本当に入れ替わってる。
しばらくこのままで過ごしてみよう。
Sure. If anything happens to Fern,
起きてください。
Fern then becomes immortal in Frieren's body. You know what I mean?
暗いよ、怖いよ。フリーレン様。
That's pretty funny. There's a joke there that elves don't really need to sleep. Okay. Well, as I said, that was the last one. Entertaining. I do hope that some of these do show up in the show. Obviously, I think there was 15 back when me and Justin were watching, and like 3 of the 15 showed up in episodes. Granted, the problem herein is that a number of these that we saw could be stuff that would be valuable in the show itself. Swapping bodies, definitely. The hunger one, maybe? I don't know. I guess we'll find out eventually. I don't remember explicitly how I found out that the ones that we'd seen had already been in episodes or whatnot, but I'm glad that they're here. I'm glad that somebody finally showed up in the comments to let me know that they existed, especially not letting me get through the entire frickin' season and then have to go back and watch some 20-something episodes. It's better when it's all together. Anyway, I think that has been it for today. We've gone through all of these shorts. We had our comments, we had our notes, we had our board, we had our episode. So next time we'll be coming back with notes and hopefully one short per episode. So that said, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?